All right, first hive inspection of the year, other than just peeking into them. I've already taken the honey super off of the queen excluder. Now, I started to pull these frames and I noticed they're not building their comb the way I want them to. No, my pretties. Big old drones. So, what I noticed was that I gotta get ready. I have gone and drawn this comb in the wrong directions. It's supposed to be built from that plane out, not in this case vertically out. So, and I noticed see the brood in there that was in that cell and got ripped apart, which is the exact reason that they can't build their combs the way they are, because that comb in reality should be, let's see if I can do this without pissing everybody off. That comb should be like that, if you will, and then the bees can come out and put nectar, pollen, brood, whatever. But I have to basically consider this, everything they built up here so far, a loss. Scrape it off and hope that they build it the right way, and hope that I don't run into too much more of this. Just because I have potentially energy from the colony was used into these eggs, into the wax. We'll leave that one. That one's all right. Okay, they just seemed on the second course, somebody running the friggin' crew, to be quite honestly, screwed up. So I'm taking all that off. Some local friends that do candles and lip balm, and so I'm sure some of this will end up her product. I try to do a very organic beekeeping method. Pretty much my job is to give the bees a happy home and let them do their stuff. In other words, like a cow, you can take a cow, you tie it to a freaking tree, you give it grass, you don't look at it for friggin' 8 months. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but boom, then you have steak. With these, you can't just do what I want with them. I have to let them be able to do what they want. So, there is that right there. If you can see that, that looks to me to be clearly a queen cell. So I put a super on top of this, a honey super, to give them more room, in the hopes that, because I could suspected that they were thinking about swarming just the way they were acting, and I put the honey super in it. They definitely moved up into that and are starting to work on those frames, but they've still got this queen cell, and that basically means that these bees have already decided that they want to swarm. Even though I've potentially changed the situations that existed, i.e. cramped living space prior to the prior to that queen cell putting out a queen, it doesn't mean that they still aren't on that mode. In other words, I don't know what I can do. I have the option of trying to split this, and it's definitely a strong enough hive. Because basically, a swarm is when a hive, a colony, excuse me, hive is where they live, colony is what they are. For whatever reason, thinks it needs to have a new home. Now, in some cases, colonies only reach certain sizes and then they split. That's how they naturally grow, expand in their environment, whatnot. Sometimes they'll do it. Springtime comes. There's all kinds of pollen, nectar, goodies coming in, and they're outgrowing their hive, i.e. their home. So they start to say, hey, in order for us to have a chance of surviving, what we have to do, there's some brood right there, that brown capped. So that means I definitely have a laying queen in here, which is a good thing. Well, I shouldn't say definitely. I have had laying workers in the past, but I'm going to be optimistic since I'm seeing so many young bees that aren't drones that it's actually the queen. And this box I'm working on now is actually 2 boxes deep, so I'm only in the second box. I'm up in the highest box right now. There's still a whole nother box of these bees, and probably, well, who knows where the queen is right now, because I also swap my boxes around. My box that's on the bottom all winter, when I go into spring, I swap that. Okay, so the box that was on top becomes the box on bottom. The box on bottom becomes the box on top. Since the bees always like to move upwards, and presumably in the spring, they've consumed all their resources in the bottom box, worked their way up to the top, and so by switching the boxes around, you now take all those bees that are up in the top box, you put them at the bottom, and their instinct to work upwards, and the fact that they got more room to go up without panicking. Jesus, that I got some really funky looking cells here, and I'm not sure if they're queen or not. Might have been some really immature ones, but I don't care. I'm gonna get rid of them. Yeah. This is called burr comb, and this is this length. Look, see, they're actually laying brood in all of that. So this is below my queen excluder. So this 2 boxes down here is where the queen has free range. She can lay eggs.